Hello, Team Toyota. I'm Ed Laukas, Group Vice President of Marketing, and I want to welcome everyone to the very first ever Toyota Engage Live. It's going to be an unbelievable experience for you. We're here live at COTA in Austin, this unbelievable, iconic racetrack, for the very first Supra training. We have some very special guests here. Brian Turk, one of our professional drivers, and then also our Dealer Advisory Council from our advertising board is also here, and you're going to be hearing from them very soon. I want you to submit any questions that you have, and we'll be able to answer them live. And then Supra, as you know, is going to be an iconic vehicle returning after over 20 years. So we're really excited about having it, and we're really excited to be able to have you involved in our very first Toyota Engage Live. Now I want to bring in our Supra resident expert, Tom Kreichman, and he's going to be able to fill in all the details of what's happening. Tom, it's all yours, buddy.
Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, you got it.
I am very, very excited. This is so cool. We got the Supra is back. After over 20 years, the Supra's coming back. We're going to talk to you today a lot about this car because we've got it out at Circuit of the Americas, and who's rolling up here? Formula Drift driver Ryan Turk in one of these beautiful Supras. Ryan, how are you doing today?
Good, how you doing?
Excellent, excellent. You had some time on the track with this thing.
I did.
Isn't it awesome?
It is phenomenal and absolutely blew away all my expectations.
I love this car. This thing is so cool. You know, the engineering that went into it, it is the most exciting Toyota. I've been with the company for 15 years, and all we've been talking about is bring the Supra back. It's back, it's fantastic. So now that you've had it on the track, I mean, you drive better than I do, man. What's your first impressions?
First impressions has a lot more power than I expected it to. Mm-hmm. You can just bang through the gears on the transmission. It just keeps pulling and pulling and pulling.
It does have a lot of power.
It's also really easy to drive. The car gives you a lot of feedback, which is what you want from the driver's seat. So it just makes a situation where you can really push the limits at a comfortable level. Yeah. So you're not really feeling like you're driving on the edge.
That's what I liked about it. You know, when I drove the car, I found that, you know, I like to drive on the track. I like to think I'm a fast driver, but I'm not.
You might be, though.
But anyway, the thing I love is, you know, you get the car out there and you can find the limits, and the car is very forgiving. And, you know, like you said, the power is fantastic. Straight six, 3-liter engine with a twin-scroll turbo. That engine has a lot of torque, and the big story here is that twin-scroll turbo produces all the torque as low as 1,650 RPM. That's the magic of the engineering that went into the engine. It's amazing how good that power band is.
Yeah, and you can feel it all the way through. Every single gear feels like it puts you back in the seat a little bit harder, and it just keeps going and going and going.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, some folks are like, oh, you know, it doesn't come with a manual transmission. But I drove it. I thought this automatic was pretty fantastic. You're a pro driver. What did you think of that automatic?
I thought it was awesome. They really matched the turbo, the power, the RPM range, and everything with the gearing and the transmission perfectly. So when you're out there driving on the track, the downshifts and the upshifts, it just feels like you're constantly in the power band where you're supposed to be on the track. Right. And then on the street, of course, you have it when you need it.
Right. You know, that gearbox, it's a gearbox made by a company called ZF. It's an 8-speed. It's a ZF 8HP. You know, that gearbox is fantastic. It's used in a lot of high-performance applications. You know, Alfa Romeo uses it. Even Aston Martin uses that transmission. And in this application, tuned by Toyota, oh man, it's unbelievable. So, you know, the other thing, this turn up here, I wish you guys could be here. This track is unbelievable. This Formula One track, and that first turn goes up a steep hill, and then it's a real tight left turn.
Yep.
So I know this morning I saw you ripping down the track, and you hit that turn. How were the brakes?
Brakes are really good. Actually, the hill is a little bit deceiving, so I overcooked the first turn apex a little bit, but the brakes obviously got me. The brakes put me back in line, and it was all good. And I was able to spin about 5 hard laps out there, pushing it a little bit harder as I got more comfortable in the car. And zero brake fade, just performed as they should at all times.
You know, a couple weeks ago we had the press out for an event at a racetrack in Virginia, and it was a really tight course, and they were just on the brakes all day long. And none of them had complaints, and let's face it, the press, they're the first ones to go, oh, this is wrong, that's wrong.
Yeah.
They loved the car, and that was the, you know, this car comes with Brembo front brakes. It's a 13.7-inch rotor in the front and a 4-piston fixed caliper, and that's part of the reason that brakes don't fade, is that they're able to handle all that heat and all that track style abuse, but yet they're quiet and they work really well on the street. And that's the thing I love about this car, is it's so dual-natured. You can take it out on the track and have a lot of fun. You can drive it on the street and still it doesn't punish you. So, we were talking earlier, when you got in the car, it reminded you of what car did it remind you of?
It has a lot of similarities, and it reminded me of getting into a Mark IV Supra, which is really cool. It's like has the cockpit attitude that the Mark IV does, and it feels really good. Like when it feels like you're stepping into a race car essentially, but for the street.
That's what I thought too. That's the cool thing about this car. It has a lot of eyeball on the outside. You can't mistake it. You can see it a quarter mile away and go, that's a Supra. But when you get in it, it has this really cool kind of cockpit feel. It's almost like a sense of occasion when you get in the car. You know it's something special.
Right, but with all the amenities.
Oh yeah, of course, that's the thing. And the seats are comfortable. You and I are about the same height, but not the same width. But I fit the Supra. It's a comfortable car. It's a 14-way adjustable power seat. And the thing I like is that backrest support. I know that race cars, you always want to have that tight support on the track and then looser when you're on the road, and that has it. But what's the best part? That sound.
The sound.
Holy cow, that sound.
Inline 6, I'm used to those.
Yeah.
And I can say that this thing sounds incredible.
I heard you this morning when you lifted throttle coming up on that turn, it would backfire and howl. It just sounded amazing. So folks, we have the dealers are here. The Dealer Advisory Council's here. And we have one of our other folks here, one of my fellow trainers, Janelle Ferris, and she's here to ask some questions of those folks. So Janelle, I know we're live. How's it going out there?
It's going amazing out here. We are trackside with some of our dealer council members, and we're going to get their initial dealer impressions on the vehicle. Allison Brady for Palmera Toyota, how are you?
Good, how are you doing today?
Good, good.
Great.
How did you like that acceleration of the Supra?
That acceleration was amazing. I mean, I felt like I was him. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I was Ryan. I was out there, I was racing. The car handles amazingly, and then right off going up that hill, wow.
Awesome, awesome. So at your dealership, what type of customers do you think will be interested in the Supra?
Honestly, I mean, this is like a dream. If you think about it, like when you grew up and the first Supra came out and everything like that, we were all too young to afford them. Yep. And now we're all in the age where we can get our sports car and everything like that. This car is going to be a home run for us, and we already have people that have ordered them, and they are not going to be disappointed.
Oh, that's great to hear. So coming out of the car, what was your favorite feature about the car? The design, performance, styling?
There's definitely the performance. I mean, we can build a gorgeous car we have for years, but to have this kind of performance and this kind of styling, and when you drive that car, you're just like safe in a rocket, and it is phenomenal.
Well, thank you, Allison, so much for your feedback. That's awesome. Next, we have up for you Jay Caldwell of Caldwell Toyota. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, good. You're happy. You've been smiling since you got here.
Yeah, I had a great time.
Awesome. Yeah. So, how does the previous gen Supra compare to this generation Supra?
Well, obviously, this is all new technology, so it's just a great, fun car to drive.
Good, good. How does the pedal feel when you're actually driving it? The braking, was it crabby?
Not at all. No. The braking was there. If you needed it, it was there. And if you didn't, it was fine. So it wasn't real hard, wasn't real soft. It was just right. Just felt right.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect fit.
Just worked.
So what was your favorite feature, Jay, of the 2020 Supra?
I love the sound of the car. Oh. When it wound up, it had a great throaty kind of sound. And then when you let off the accelerator going into a turn, it kind of grumbled a little bit going in. It was nice.
Cool. It's absolutely one of my favorite features of the car as well. Thank you, Jay. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Chris Hines of Toyota of Melbourne. How are you today, Chris?
I'm excellent.
You're strong, silent type today, aren't we?
Yes. How are you?
Good, good. So how was the handling of the car?
It's incredible. I mean, the faster you push it, you think you're at the limit, and you can just keep hitting the accelerator and turning the steering wheel, and the thing goes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. What do you think will be the customer's favorite features about this car?
I definitely think performance. I mean, it's nice that we have something, and it performs much higher than the horsepower rating that's on there right now. So
it's 335.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
So thinking about it, what was your favorite feature of the car?
Easily performance. I mean, it's just weighs its class. It's just an incredible car. I wish I had more laps on it. It ended too quick.
Well, we'll see what we can do for you, Chris. Thank you so much. And last but definitely not least, we have the big guy, Cliff Cummings here from Toyota San Bernardino. How are you, Cliff?
I'm doing great. I mean, it's great fun, and I've had the opportunity to drive it and to also ride as a passenger in it.
Wow.
And not a lot of people have done that, and it's been terrific on both sides.
Good, good. How is that driving position for a man as big as yourself?
You know, getting in's harder than you think with
Okay.
a big helmet on, but when you're in the car, it is absolutely comfortable. You have so many adjustments. You can just feel like you're in a nice little cocoon, and you can go.
Awesome. It wrapped your body and felt pretty safe.
Absolutely
Awesome.
safe.
How does the car sound when you accelerate? I know we heard Chris talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, you get the different senses, right? So
Yeah.
smell, eyes, the sound is great. It is exactly what we're looking for. The acceleration is terrific. It's probably a little bit quicker than people are talking about in the beginning. And what is remarkable is the handling. You're able to get out there, and if you think you're in a tight turn and you're thinking, oh, do I let up or do I not let up? Don't let up. You can go.
Awesome. So thinking about everything, putting it in a nutshell, what was your one favorite feature that you want to call out about the Supra?
I think it's the handling. I mean, the overall performance is great. The sound's great, and that always lends to the experience. But when you're going into a tighter turn and you can stand on it a little bit, that's something that you don't get in a lot of the cars that are just street regular cars.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for
Pleasure.
your time today, Cliff.
Thanks.
Thank you guys so much for your feedback after your drive out here today. Tom Kretschmann, back to you.
So Janelle, it sounds like it's unanimous. Everybody, the car exceeded their expectations.
Absolutely. Everyone seemed to have an exciting ride while they were out here and really got to push that Supra to the limits.
Well, no other better place than the Circuit of the Americas to push the limits on
Absolutely.
the car. So Ryan, I was talking to you there in the break a little bit. You are our Formula Drift driver, and you just won where was the last event at?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. This guy, let me tell you, this morning he put on a show, drifting clinic. Car control was phenomenal. I don't know how you didn't hit that wall, but he spun that car, got it sideways, and everything was amazing. So we had asked you guys to ask questions about the car and submit them to us. And we, right here, Modern Technology, I have some of your questions right here, and we're going to get into some of those right now. So the first question, there are two actually that just about everybody asked. And the first one was, why did Toyota partner with BMW to make the GR Supra and its straight six engine? That's an excellent question as they roar by. So the reason has to do with economics. To build a car of this caliber and make it profitable, there has to be collaboration. You know, the RAV4 and the Camry, they're great cars and we sell a whole ton of them. But a Supra, it's a niche car, and there's no way we're gonna sell the same number, as much as I'd love to sell as many Supras as we sell RAVs. Keep trying to sell them, folks. The thing is that in the real world, we have to collaborate in order to split costs. And the truth is, without this collaboration, the Supra may not have come back. And BMW, their Z4, may not have come back. We have two great sports cars, and this thing is fantastic. So that's part of the reason why that's the case. The next one, everybody asked me this question. Why isn't a manual available for the GR Supra? Why isn't a manual transmission available for the GR Supra? And I want to ask you, did you like that transmission?
I love the trans.
I like that transmission
I think
too.
it's great. I do like a 6-speed, but the transmission they put in here is phenomenal.
So there's a reason behind having this automatic in it. And this automatic was chosen because it managed to fit the size and weight requirements our engineers targeted to put into this package to give the car almost perfect 50-50 weight balance and lightweight. A manual transmission that could handle the power of this engine just wasn't available at the time. So basically, putting my reporter's earpiece back in here, basically the automatic transmission was the best choice to make this car the balance package that it is. So we got another question here from Antonio. Let me make sure my technology's working here. Antonio asks, what is the top speed of the GR Supra? Did you hit the top speed?
I did not. It had plenty left.
We're at Circuit of the Americas. He still couldn't hit the top speed. The top speed is electronically limited to 155. So that's the answer to that,
I was
155.
close. I got
you got
close.
really close?
Yeah.
All right. I wouldn't even look down at the speed if I was at that speed. Good grief. All right. Debbie asks, when will they be available? Soon. Actually, I'll give them the real answer. Week of July 22nd, they're being delivered to dealers. So that's an excellent question. They're coming very soon. Adam asks, where is the Supra made? That's an excellent question. So remember, this is a collaboration project. We've partnered with BMW to make this fantastic sports car, but it's not built in a Toyota plant, and it's not built in the BMW plant. It's built at the Magnaster plant in Austria. And this plant actually is kind of like a plant for hire, so to speak, for manufacturers who want to make a really cool vehicle, but that might be a low volume vehicle. So to give you some examples, the Jaguar I-Pace is built there, and the Mercedes G-Wagon is built at the Magnaster plant. And that's part of the reason we have the Supra being built there too. It is a perfect place to have a low volume car being produced. So next, Bob asks, what type of rear end does the Supra have? In other words, is it a torsion, is it a little bit slip? That's a good question. So this car has an active sport rear differential, meaning it's a limited slip differential, but the clutches and the lockup of that rear differential is electronically controlled between 0 all the way up to 100% and anywhere in between. And that, you said the cornering before, you had so much control in the corners and powering out. How did it lay the power down when you powered out of a corner?
It just lays the power right down. You can just put your foot to the floor and ride the turn all the way out to the exit, and the car basically does the work for you.
Or you can go sideways all the way out the
Or
exit.
yeah, if you initiated it a little bit harder coming in, then you could definitely power over on the way out.
He's the drift champion. He doesn't know how to get it sideways. But yes, it does have a limited slip differential. It's electronically controlled, and it really does put power. I can attest it works phenomenally. Richard asks, are there any similarities to the previous Supra? We don't have enough time, man. There's so many similarities. Like Ryan said, getting in the car, you notice right away, getting in the car, just the way the cockpit felt was similar too, right?
Yeah, there's just these little accents and these little touches that remind you, for me, especially the Mark IV Supra.
Yeah, you know, if we look at the hood and the headlights here, you'll also see some of that same thing. When you see the car in person, literally that roof line, the roof line too, but the hood line especially, the hood and headlights, very reminiscent of the Mark IV. The ducktail spoiler in the back, it's arched, reminiscent of that arched wing we had on the Mark IV Supra. And there's dozens of other little tidbits. Wait till you see it in person. Even the size of the car lengthwise, it's almost the same. It's a tad taller, but again, that's for tall folks like you and I, about 6 foot to fit. It's great. So yeah, there's tons of similarities. Straight 6 engine, front engine, rear drive, turbos. Tell me, it's fantastic. All right. Laurie asks, can you please explain how the dual rear sport differential and active exhaust works? Well, the computers on board for the differential can monitor how you're driving the car. They're going to look at steering, speed, and so forth, and they're going to adapt that differential and basically determine, for example, when you're coming into a corner, you don't want to have a whole lot of differential lockup because the car won't turn. But in mid-corner and powering out, you want that lockup to begin to ramp up so you can put the power down, like you said, and squirt out the other end of the corner. That's what it does. It has a clutch pack in there that can turn on and off, and the computers control it. And the active exhaust, so the active exhaust does a couple things. One, there's a baffle in the muffler that switches open and allows more free flowing, so you hear more sound. More sound's good. The other thing it does, and we were talking about this earlier, the sound of that car. Remember when you came up the hill and you lifted throttle, all the backfiring? That's the other cool thing the exhaust does. When you're in sport mode, there's a program in the fuel injection that allows just a tiny bit of fuel to escape out of the engine and get into the exhaust, and when you lift the throttle, it backfires and pings, and it sounds phenomenal. It's reminiscent of old race cars.
Absolutely.
Your car does that too, right?
My car does that a lot, yes.
Yeah. Keep the turbo spooled up,
Yep.
right? How many horsepower in your race car?
About 1,000, I think we made 1,016 at the wheels.
1,016, so that's what, 3 of these?
Potentially,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Oh, close.
That's a full race car. That's how he's able to drift all day long. All right, let's see. Next question is, the Supra produces its max torque. My Missouri accent came out, max torque. The Supra produces its max torque starting at 1,600 RPM. Did I hear that correct? Yes. Well, almost, 1,650. But yes, max torque as low as 1,600 RPM. The twin scroll turbo is able to produce and spool up at that low RPM. And like when you were pulling out of here this morning, after you guys did that thing, I remember as soon as you got on the power, you just squirt it away, and it's instant right off the stop.
It's
right?
surprising how quick it comes on and puts you in a seat pretty quick.
Yeah.
So you got to be ready for it.
A lot of torque down low. It's not the old 1980s turbo engine where you got to wait an hour and a half for it to build power. It has it right away. So yes, as low as 1600 RPM. Okay. A guy named Cowboy, Ronald Cowboy, asks, how many trim levels will there be? Okay, so there are three model grades available on the Supra. The 3.0 is your base grade, then you move up to the 3.0 Premium. And this year only, there's a third grade called the Launch Edition. It has its own unique look, a serialized plate for one of 1,500 copies. And that particular car the Launch Edition gets black wheels, red mirror caps. It has its own unique look. It only comes in 3 colors. That Launch Edition comes in Absolute Zero White, Nocturnal Black, and Renaissance 2.0 Red. That's this color. This is a Premium. And the Premium model comes with full leather seats. The heat, the sun, this Texas heat. Anyway, full leather seating. And these, oh, this is a Launch Edition. I'm sorry, I just looked. This has the red mirror caps and the black wheels. The standard 3.0 Premium gets a 2-tone wheel, silver and black. And the 3.0 has Alcantara seating. You'll notice that when you see the 3.0. And there's some other tidbits too. We'll get to that when you get your training. Dario asks, this is Dario. My question is, what is the 0 to 60 on the Supra? Okay.
What is it? I don't even know.
The factory states that it's 4.1 seconds. Car driver recently got it to go faster.
I was going to say, it feels faster than that.
Yeah, it feels really quick. All that torque down low, that car is very quick. Deshaun asks, how does it compare to size to the 8.6? This is a great question. The first thing, now when you first saw the car, did you think it was bigger or smaller than you saw in the pictures?
I think it's a tough call.
Did it kind of look the way you thought it would?
Yeah, I did.
See, that's different than me. Because when I first looked at it, I thought, man, that thing's small.
Yeah.
Because its wheelbase is actually 4 inches shorter than the 8.6. The 8.6 has a back seat. This Supra does not. That's one big difference between this Supra and the Mark IV is no back seats. No back seats means that the engineers can package everything a little tighter, a little closer, makes the car more agile. So in terms of its overall size, length end to end, it's very similar to an 8.6, but it's much wider. It's 2 inches wider in the rear, 3 inches wider in the front when you talk about track. And that's one of the keys. The wide track and that short wheelbase makes that car, that's why it's so agile in the turns. It is part of the magic.
Yeah.
All right, let's see, next question. Peyton asks, does the Supra come with Toyota Care? Yes. Yes, it does. It actually, there's some details, and when you get trained at the regional level and so forth, they'll tell you more about these details, but basically, there's some maintenance things that are a little bit different on the car. For example, the oil changes are not by time, they're actually condition-based, so the car actually looks at the oil and can tell, does the oil need to be changed more soon because you're ripping around a track or a lot of cold starts, or can we go out a little further, and it can tell you that. But you'll get more about that in the future. In the near future, because the car's coming out real soon. Does the Supra come with, Audrey writes, does the Supra come with any safety features? Yes, it has 8 standard airbags. Let's see if I can rattle this off. 2 front, 2 knee, 2 curtain, 2 side. And it comes with a forward collision warning. It comes with lane departure warning and alert. It comes with automatic high beams, and if you option out, you can get things like rear cross traffic alert, blind spot monitor, and so forth. So yes, it has great safety features. Because going fast is important, but being safe, I saw you wearing the helmet this morning, being safe is just as more important.
Absolutely.
Just as more important, I like my English, live TV. All right, Bonnie asks, will it come with Apple CarPlay? Oh, excellent question. If you get the premium audio in the car, which is standard on the 3.0 Premium Launch Editions, or you opt for it on the 3.0, not only do you get Apple CarPlay, it's wireless Apple CarPlay. no wires, wireless Apple CarPlay. So yes. James Farrell says, how many driving modes does the car have? So this is kind of a trick question. The answer really is 2. You put it in sport this morning.
Yep.
When you put it in sport, the exhaust wakes up, the car becomes a track weapon. But the cool thing is there are several items within that sport setting that you can turn on and off. So technically you could say it has 3 sport settings: sport on, sport off, and then the custom setting. So you can go in and individually customize the car to be what you want it to be. Daniel, listen to that sound. Daniel writes, hang on, let me get this up. He asks, is it a 2+2 or just a 2-seater? So Daniel, you might have missed it when we first got on, but this car, departing from Supra Edition, it's a pure sports car. It only has 2 seats. It is not a 2+2. That's a good question, though. Ooh. Okay, Daniel again asks a second question, and this is a good one, Daniel. Daniel wanted to know about the transmission again, and you like that transmission.
I do.
I like this transmission, but Daniel asks a question that I know all car geeks out there are wanting to know, and that question is, does the transmission have a clutch, or is it using a torque converter? Do not worry that when I say this, but it uses a torque converter, and I can hear the groans all the way here out in Austin. It's not a bad thing, trust me. Let me tell you a little story once these cars go by. When we were at the press event, the chief engineer was there, and the press were asking about automatic transmission, manual transmission, why no manual, and so forth. And the chief engineer had a very simple answer. He goes, drive the car, and then tell me if you still want a manual transmission. Now, there were still a few holdouts, but not many. I'd say almost 3/4 of the press, they said, this thing's great, it's fine. And keep in mind, many super high-performance sports cars now are coming with automatic transmissions. And this transmission, like I said, the same box is used in makes like Aston Martin and Alfa Romeo. So it's a hell of a box, it really is. Okay, Carlos asks, are the rotors drilled or slotted or regular rotors? Do they have 4 pistons stopping the front rotors for better braking? No and yes. Next question. No, let me elaborate. So, they aren't drilled or slotted, they are ventilated, which on larger rotors, that's kind of common. But these brakes also incorporate an aluminum hat for lightweight. So the center part that isn't being clamped by the caliper is aluminum for lightweight and heat dissipation. Also, it's a Brembo system. That front caliper is a large 4-piston fixed caliper design. So it can absorb a lot of heat and handle track work like they're just whizzing by doing right now, going up that hill and making that turn. So, and I can tell you from experience, I've driven this car on the track. I'm not a pro driver, but I did hit the brakes a lot because the car accelerates really fast. The next thing you know, you get to a turn, you're like, whoa, brakes, brakes, brakes. The brakes don't fade. They're really great. Even the press flogged the car. You drove it. You didn't have any brake issues, and you were going almost the top speed, 155. All right. Mark asks, will Toyota dealer mechanics be able to service or repair it? Yes. In fact, the dealers, the FTSs and the technical folks, they were trained just last week on this. They're getting specialty tools, and there's a whole program they will be able to work it. So, Ryan, I want to thank you for taking this car, taking the time and ringing this car out and giving us your impressions. And, you know, they're not going by. I don't know if you want to.
You got track time?
I mean, there's a little bit of track time, man.
I'm getting in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I knew I couldn't keep them out of the car. So, everybody, thanks for participating in our first Toyota Engage Live event for the iconic Toyota Supra. There's going to be more of these coming where we're going to train you on all kinds of things. And oh man, Ryan is going to have the sound. The sound's brilliant. But here he goes. Thank you guys. I'm going to get out of the way. Take care.